O God and Creator, goodness and perfection flow from you. How great are your fullness and wonder. We come to you today seeking your blessing, not only on those of us present, but on all peoples we represent. Almighty God, in the abundance of your glory, enable us to grow firm in power with regard to our inner selves, so that you may live in our hearts through faith, and then, planted in love and built on love with all God's holy people, we will have the strength to grasp the length and the breadth, the height and the depth, so that, knowing the perfect love of God, which is beyond knowledge, we may be filled with the utter fullness of God. We thank you for the life of Anthony Norman Sabga, by whose generosity and inspiration the notion of the Caribbean Awards for Excellence has come to fruition. May he enjoy eternal life. Bless, we pray, the laureates whom we recognize tonight, and endow each of them, their co-workers and respective families with grace and strength, so that their future work and witness be to the credit of their country and be to your glory. We make our prayer knowing that from you all things come, and to you all things shall return. Amen.
Please be seated. Her Excellency Paula May Weeks, ORTT, President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Andrew N. Sabga, Chairman of the Ansa McAl Foundation, and other directors of the Foundation, members of the Regional Eminent Persons Panel, resident in Trinidad and Tobago, members of the Trinidad and Tobago Nominating Committee, present here today as well, Mr. Anthony N. Sabga III, Chief Executive of the Ansa McAl Group, our 2020 Laureate in Science and Technology, Dr. Shireen Hack, and members of her family. Specially invited guests, good afternoon. It is my distinct pleasure now to invite Mr. Andrew N. Sabga to make his welcome remarks. Mr. Sabga.
Thank you, Maria. Her Excellency Paula May Weeks, ORTT, President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, members of the Regional Eminent Persons Panel, resident in Trinidad and Tobago, members of the Trinidad and Tobago Nominations Committee, Mr. Anthony N. Sabga III, Chief Executive Officer of the Ansa McAl Group. A special welcome to our 2020 Laureate in Science and Technology, Dr. Shireen Hack, and the members of her family, specially invited guests. It is my privilege to welcome you to the presentation of the 2020 Anthony N. Sabga Caribbean Awards for Excellence in Science and Technology to Dr. Shireen Hack of Trinidad and Tobago. You do not need me, I'm sure, to tell you that these are unusual and trying times. Ordinarily, we would have hosted a large gala event to honor all of our laureates at one time. But these days, humanity is united in an unusual and unsettling way. We face an uncertain future which we cannot control. We are vulnerable in a way that we had hardly contemplated. And more than ever, it seems that our fate is not in our hands. All this is true, but there are also other truths. First, that it is at moments like these that humanity is at its best, seizing despair and turning it into fuel that drives us to a better future. And today, here is where the dream for a better future takes material shape, in people like our laureate, Dr. Shireen Hack. Dr. Hack is a rarity in many ways. She is the only professional astronomer in the region, and she is also a woman in science, a field traditionally dominated by men. But both of these statements are very deceptive. Astronomy might be seen as a pursuit not relevant to the daily challenges that we face. But you will see shortly, when you view her video, that her work that she is doing so far is very far from that truth. The second truth about women in science is one that is changing before our very eyes. The media reported a few weeks ago that Anika Chibrolio, a 14-year-old girl from Texas, won the 2020 3M Science Prize for a scientific discovery that could stop the COVID-19 virus. In addition, 4 women won Nobel Prizes this year, 1 in literature and 3 for science in physics and chemistry. We are very excited that our 2020 laureate in science and technology, Dr. Hack, is part of this wave of women being honored for their work in science. We at Answer McCall will do everything in our power to enable women to excel in their respective fields. This award, which was highly a competitive one, in which the winner goes through a rigorous selection process, is the first step in that direction. When my father, Dr. Anthony N. Sabga, conceived these awards more than 15 years ago, his vision was to celebrate and propel Caribbean excellence in various disciplines. Part of his dream was also to let the region know that everything the Caribbean needs to save itself is right here within the Caribbean. This year's awardees have lived up to his dreams and expectations, and I salute all 4 of you. Let us have no doubt that the way out of our current troubles is through science. Dr. Hack is not only a researcher, she is also a teacher who inspires students at the University of the West Indies and in the public sphere through television programs and short courses designed for lay people. She not only teaches, but anyone who has attended one of her lectures would understand the infectious passion and the joy that she brings to her work. I will let you see that for yourself when you view her biographical video. I'd like to conclude here by reiterating how proud we at the Anthony N. Sabga Caribbean Awards for Excellence are to be making this presentation to Dr. Shireen Hack and commending her to you, as we have commended our other laureates, Dr. Olivine Burke of Jamaica, Mr. Andrew Menz of Guyana, and Mr. Jalim Udovic of St. Lucia, who have all been honored in their own home territories in ceremonies similar to this one. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy this evening's ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. And now we move into our welcome remarks by Sushridat Ramphal, Chair of the Regional Eminent Person Selection Panel, followed immediately by remarks from our patron, Mr. A. Norman Sabga.
Distinguished Caribbean colleagues everywhere, excellence will not be curbed, nor will its salutation by the necessary rules of safety that the pandemic imposes. And so, we are here today in a different fashion to acclaim the very best of the Caribbean in an area of homegrown achievement of that excellence that nevertheless encompasses our entire region. 15 years ago, the Anthony N. Sabga Caribbean Awards for Excellence broke new ground in looking out across our wide region and identifying from within our civilization individuals who had attained a unique level of excellence in notable fields of endeavor. In arts and letters, in public and civic contributions, in science and technology, and more recently, in entrepreneurship. Caribbean folk came to be identified as achievers above the call of merit, beyond the lines of distinction. Achievers for whom only the sobriquet of excellence would suffice. By the high plane of philanthropy thus innovated, and which the trustees of the Ansa McCall Foundation have sustained, the Caribbean Awards for Excellence have generated a new level of regional aspiration. I salute the new chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Foundation, Mr. Andrew Sabga. And I salute too, in the name of the entire eminent persons panel, the model of philanthropic hands-off that he and his colleagues at Ansa McCall have been in relation to these awards. Excellence takes many forms, and the foundation is itself one of them. In so handsomely and with integrity, rewarding excellence, the awards have enhanced Caribbean levels of ambition and set higher the bar of regional accomplishment. In his immortal Gitanjali, Tagore wrote over a century ago of a world where knowledge is free, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where tireless striving stretches its arms toward perfection. It was a world of excellence. It is our world. The 2020 awards, as they salute and support excellence in our Caribbean, lift our collective sights to levels of performance we often miss or even fail to believe attainable in our region. They thus advance the superlative, excellence itself, as the mean for all our activities. The Caribbean Awards for Excellence not only honor individuals, but by demonstrating through them the worthiness that is within our countries, they multiply the vistas of excellence attainable to them. This year, we celebrate in the homeland of each of our awardees their outstanding achievement. And you, our viewing audience, are all with our celebrant and our celebrant with you. That is as it should be, for tonight is an occasion of Caribbean excellence. I invite you all to share with us the joy of the conferment of the Caribbean Award for Excellence 2020.
Our distinguished laureates and their families, members of our regional panel of eminent persons, other guests, welcome to our 2020 awards ceremony. If a year ago someone told me that I would be addressing you via this medium, we would all be in disbelief. But the global pandemic has pushed us into a new normal, and therefore I must address you by this means rather than in person. But the more things change, the more they stay the same. Amidst the push into the digital technology and the reorganization of our businesses, social life, and economic activity, a few things of our past remain of premium importance. Some of these things are ingenuity, innovation, entrepreneurship. Even without technology that we are using at this moment, these are the human qualities that deliver us into a new, better world. And these are the very things that our founder, Dr. Anthony N. Sapgar, valued above all else. So it is fitting that these awards remain his legacy to the region and to the world, that the Anthony N. Sapgar Caribbean Awards for Excellence seeks out the knowledge and the skills so necessary for human, social, and economic growth, and makes the knowledge available to all. So now, more than ever, as our laureates, past and present, are leading the way to alternative energy, medical science and entrepreneurship, and social intervention to help the less fortunate, our 2020 laureates magnificently provide us with the best examples of what we can do to solve our problems from within. Mr. Andrew Menz, our entrepreneurship laureate from Guyana, has transformed the logging industry, but he's also diversified from farming, alternative energy, and traditional energy. Dr. Shireen Hack, our science laureate from Trinidad Tobago, adds the second woman to this category. Dr. Hack's field is astronomy, but she will explain to you the science used to gaze into the stars is of utmost importance here to us on Earth. Our laureate in civic contributions, Dr. Olivine Burke from Jamaica, as head of UWI Mona Social Services, has made remarkable and transformative interventions in Jamaica's most depressed communities. She has transformed lives, rejuvenated whole communities, and brought education and opportunity where there was none. And our final laureate, Mr. Jalim Udovic of St. Lucia, is a sculptor whose work speaks to our present, past, and future of these islands. As always, the selection of these laureates is thanks to our hard-working and dedicated community nominating committees and the deliberation of our regional eminence panel. These exemplary people are the inner machinery of our awards, and I thank them. I congratulate our laureates in their respective territories, and I am confident that our laureates will be at the forefront of those leading our people out of the crisis into a better future. I thank you.
And now we view the vignette of Dr. Shirin Hack.
We sometimes look to the stars and let our imaginations roam, but then we come back to Earth. Shirin Hack, an astronomer from Trinidad and Tobago, is a rare individual who manages to be on Earth and keep her head in the stars.
My father had a pair of binoculars that would be around, and I took the binoculars and I looked up at the moon at around age 9. And like I say, I never looked back down.
She is the only working astronomer in the Caribbean, which is a feat in itself. It's difficult to imagine astronomy as a viable pursuit in the region given its many earthbound difficulties.
I went to UE, right, natural sciences, and my degree was a major in physics. And after that, the calling remained. I wanted to do astronomy. But anyway I turned, everyone told me, you're not going to get a job with that. You can't do astronomy in Trinidad.
But things have changed since then. Astronomy is no longer just stargazing.
Astronomy is like the queen of the sciences that brings all mathematics, physics, chemistry, and now even biology. So one of the beauty about astronomy and relevance to our people is that it gives you transferable skills.
As the science has progressed, the Caribbean, and Trinidad specifically, has emerged as a site for a cutting-edge development in astronomy.
If you take up a very old textbook in astronomy, you're not even going to find a topic called astrobiology. You take up a current one, they will all have it. So it's a cutting-edge field that developed over the period that I've been involved in astronomy.
I was very surprised but also very excited about the combination of astronomy and physics with biology. Looking at the question of life in the universe. We all wanted to know about Mars on life and what's happening on the other planets. And this was one area of research project which was going to try to answer the questions about whether we have life on Mars and other planets. And if we do, what is it like?
Apparently, there are areas in Trinidad which are perfect for the study of astrobiology.
It's a huge question, and it's one of the big things now, life in the universe. So what could we in Trinidad contribute to such a big question like that? Now, Mars has features like mud volcanoes. So we can't quite go to Mars right now and do testing, but we could go down to the mud volcanoes and see what kind of environment it was regarding whether it was conducive to life. Similarly with the Pitch Lake. Now, the mud volcanoes act as an analog for Mars, but the Pitch Lake, Titan, which is Saturn's largest moon, has an abundance of hydrocarbon lakes. And guess who else has an abundance of hydrocarbon lake? Us in Trinidad.
Trinidad is also well positioned, literally, for observational astronomy. When telescopes in high latitudes cannot view an object, it is often visible here. This has led to a collaboration with foreign universities to set up an observatory in Trinidad.
So one of the projects that we got started with was establishing an observatory here. There was, and to date, there is no research grade observatory in the English-speaking Caribbean. And you had to be everything. You had to be project manager, you had to be architect, you had to be software engineer to make this thing happen. And why were we doing this? Well, it was a project we got involved with Finland, but they are 60 degrees north. So they were monitoring a quasar, which is a black hole kind of system. And when it went below the horizon, they couldn't see it. So guess who could see it? Us, conveniently placed close to the equator, could see it when Finland couldn't. So we took over the observation when it was needed at those times.
She has been affiliated with many international organizations, worked together with them. She has been able to team up with almost 12 universities from North America to apply for a very large grant. It would enable us, one, to develop a large laboratory with equipment which would enable the university to train students, for example, in computer science relevant to data analysis, for example, Python programming, which is a very much used programming language nowadays. We can train also kids at school using data that we get from the atmosphere so that they could at least see the usefulness of physics.
Hack is also a passionate educator, teaching at the university and creating television programs for public education.
She is a phenomenal lecturer, a phenomenal educator. There are very few people that you could ever meet that has such a passion and a drive for the things that they do sometimes in this world, in this university even. And you just walk into a class and you feel it's all there. You feel all the passion laid out on the tables. She will bring her little toys, some Star Trek stuff, some Doctor Who stuff, a little Einstein figurine. At some point in time, I think I remember seeing, and you just feel so immersed in astrophysics and in the course, and there's never dull moments with her.
She is able to propagate physics down to the layperson. I think that would be one of the most significant achievements that she has had in Trinidad and Tobago, and that has allowed us as a department to prosper.
For her achievements as a scientist, teacher, and pioneer, Dr. Shireen Hack of Trinidad and Tobago is the Anthony N. Sabga Caribbean Awards for Excellence Laureate in Science and Technology for 2020.
Lovely. Chairman, Mr. Andrew Sabga, could I invite you to stand? And could I invite our laureate, Ms. Shireen Hack, to receive? Where's our fanfare?
It is my great pleasure to present you to this well-deserved medal. I know that stalking is a bad word these days, but I have to tell you that we at the Office of the President have been stalking you because next year we hope to put on a women's firsts. And we will have first in many fields, and we spotted you very brightly on our radar as a first in your field. So I'm very excited to present you with your medal, and may it encourage you to continue educating and inspiring young people, especially young girls in the STEM field. Well deserved, and congratulations.
Thank you, Her Excellency. Yes.
Her Excellency Paula May Weeks, ORTT, President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Andrew N. Sabga, Chairman of the Ansel McCall Foundation and other directors of the Foundation, members of the Regional Eminent Persons Panel resident in Trinidad and Tobago, members of the Trinidad and Tobago Nominating Committee, Mr. Anthony N. Sabga III, Chief Executive of the Ansel McCall Group, and specially invited guests. Good afternoon, everyone. Once upon a time, ready for a story? There was a little girl born in a village who never went to school till age 7, unable to read English or do maths. But the darkness of the village skies with its twinkling stars beckoned. She grew up to be told astronomy was certainly not a viable career, and certainly not in the Caribbean. As you probably guessed, that little girl was me, clearly a little hard-headed. There are just about 13,000 astronomers in the entire world, and less than 20% of them are women. Against the odds, here I stand before you. I never applied for any astronomy positions at foreign universities. I always felt there were many astronomers abroad who could contribute there, but in the Caribbean, we had no one. This is where I could make a difference. This is where we make a stand. So, pitch and mud. What comes to mind? Juve? You're feeling to Dingole and Ramajay? A little road paving, perhaps? Anything but astronomy, right? Well, the mud volcanoes and the Pitch Lake in Trinidad hold clues to understanding life in the universe. How mind-blowing is that? Decoding life on Mars and Titan? We brought it home to the Caribbean with our natural resources. The dance of two black holes, the historic Rosetta mission of landing a probe on a comet. Yes, we did contribute data there too from our unique vantage point in the Caribbean. And Trinidad and Tobago shall be forever immortalized among the stars long after I'm gone, with an exoplanet and its host star named by our people for our people, Dingole and Ramajay. Next time you look at the Leo constellation, and if anyone wants to know how to find it, meet me afterwards. There's our exo world out there. There is nothing that makes one feel overwhelmingly special and completely insignificant at the same time as the universe can. By the time I'm done with my remarks in a few short minutes, that is how long it took for the fate of the entire 13.7 billion years of the universe to be sealed. Every one of us here, the hydrogen that makes us up, was only manufactured in those first 3 minutes. So next time someone asks you how old you are, forget about rounding down. You are 13.7 billion years old. Right? Pause for dramatic effect. I'm not sure what is more staggering, the universe around us or the power of human intellect to decipher it with the tools of mathematics and physics and insatiable curiosity. Yet the skills of our students and enjoyment of mathematics is falling. This must be addressed. Right now, the world is in a tailspin. Who are you going to call? No, not the Ghostbusters. It's the science and technology that will save us from the scourge of the coronavirus. Investment in science and technology is a proven path to the economic development of nations. The Caribbean has some of the brightest people in the world who, for lack of opportunities, have left. We must create a space for them to serve at home. I never believed that I would see science under attack. I am seeing the rise of flat earthers. I cannot stress enough how troubling it is to see these trends. After the thousands of years humanity took to arrive where we are, scientifically and technologically, there is danger of misinformation and dogma now more than ever before. To quote Feynman, I would rather have questions that can't be answered than answers that can't be questioned. This mindset took 1,000 years to change, as the ability to conceptualize what seems a child play for us, the idea of numbers, and then another 500 years after that to come up with the idea of zero. How staggering it is. Ideas are game changers, and they can come from anywhere. So I want to improve the chances that our Caribbean can be a game changer too by investing in our youths and children and igniting their passion for science. Curiosity is contagious. Anyone around a bunch of 5-year-olds will know that. I've just launched a YouTube channel for kids, The Enchanted Forest, where children send in questions in astronomy and Dr. Hack, the astronomer, answers them. What are vampire stars and nebulas? Asks a 6-year-old girl.
Now you're wondering what a vampire does, right? See me after. Yet we kill our greatest enterprise of curiosity and discovery by traditional schooling with a focus on exams, where doctors, lawyers, and engineers are still seen to be the only viable careers by our youth. I go out to schools a lot, and that's a constant feedback and pattern that I see. Carl Sagan inspired a generation. We are that generation. He said, "We live in a society exquisitely dependent on science and technology, in which hardly anyone knows anything about science and technology." That was over 25 years ago, and it's true even more today. So, your kindness to me has been overwhelming. And empowered by this award, I look forward to establishing a studio for communication of science from our Caribbean perspective, even as my first documentary, Adventures in Discovery, was born out of a pride to show the great science happening in the region. The Center for Global Peace and Citizenship in the United States took notice and invited me for its screening. Science for Peace and Development. Yes, astronomy diplomacy for a better world. That is our common humanity. Girls in science matter. They have always mattered to me, and I hope to establish a mentorship program for young girls in science and expand financial aid where needed. So, to all of you, my family who are here, Deva and Farishta, and those who couldn't be, Johanna and Amal in the United Kingdom, my mom at home, and my father in another realm in this universe. But his lesson in life, coined in just 2 words, has always been my guiding light. Help humanity. I say my deepest and heartfelt thank you. To the nominating committee of Trinidad and Tobago, chaired by Mrs. Helen Drayton, who is truly an inspiration, thank you for taking a chance on me. I am forever humbled, indebted, and at your service. Thank you. You have handed me the torch, and it is now my turn more than ever to light every candle in the darkness towards scientific enlightenment. I accept this award on behalf of all the little starry-eyed girls and women who have been told that girls are not good at maths and physics is for engineering and boys. And astronomy, you're not getting a job with that. For that, I thank the University of the West Indies, who cradled my curiosity from learning to teaching to making astronomy happen enough for the world to sit up and take notice. Something is right when the National Science Foundation in the USA, an American Association of Arts and Sciences, and the United Nations Program on Space Applications reaches out to you in the Caribbean and not you to them. I share Louis Pasteur's sentiment, science knows no country, because knowledge belongs to humanity, and it's the torch which illuminates the world. Science is the highest personification of the nation, because that nation will remain the first which carries furthest the works of thought and intelligence. Ansa McCall Foundation. You have sent the message loud and clear that women can do science in outlier fields like astronomy and thrive, be recognized and rewarded in the Caribbean. What more can one ask for? My deepest thank you. We are on the right path to progress. For fans of Star Trek, Kapla to all, which means success to all in Klingon, or rather, I end with the more familiar, live long and prosper. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hack. Her Excellency Paula May Weeks, ORTT, President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Andrew Sapka, Chairman of the Ansa McCall Foundation, and the directors of the foundation. members of the Regional Eminent Persons Selection Panel resident in Trinidad and Tobago, members of the Trinidad and Tobago Nominating Committee, Mr. Anthony Nsabga III, Chief Executive of the Ansa McAl Group, Dr. Hack and her family, ladies and gentlemen. After a delay of 7 months, we have finally arrived at the end of our 2020 awards ceremony with today's function in Trinidad and Tobago. This has been an incredible journey. By May of this year, we realized that we couldn't make any predictions. As I've said in another place, we decided to focus on the steps instead of the staircase. But the steps had cracks in them, and we were not as sure-footed as we had hoped, so we maneuvered gingerly. Today, we have prevailed. By the grace of God, we survived. And that in no small measure as well was due to the phenomenal support we received both from members of our panel in Jamaica, St. Lucia, and Guyana, but also from our country nominating committees and event management teams in those islands. Allow me to recognize them. In Jamaica, Mr. Christopher Bovell and Sir Kenneth Hall are EPP members, and Wayne Stewart and Joan Robb of Dunlop Corbin Communications Limited. In St. Lucia, Dr. Charmaine Gardner and Professor E. Nigel Harris are EPP members, and Laureate Senator Dr. Adrian Auger and his Landmark Events team. In Guyana, Major General Joseph G. Singh, our lone EPP member there, and our event provider Christina King and her team at Red Entertainment. And in Trinidad and Tobago, we had Saltwater Studios, CNC3, Ansa McAl Group Corporate Communications, Rachel Pilgrim, who made arrangements in Barbados for Sir Sridat's video, and providing my own invaluable support in the program office, Dr. Raymond Ramcharitar and Olivia Habib. In addition, the participation and support of Mr. Maureen Seymour, Ms. Minna Israel, and the rest of the Jamaica Nominating Committee, and Mr. Al Crichton, Mr. Alim Hossain, and the Guyana Nominating Committee. They all ensured that our ceremonies mirrored our past larger single awards ceremonies. Thank you all. But an important aspect of these award ceremonies was the encouragement and patronage that we received from the heads of state. His Excellency, the Most Honorable Sir Patrick Allen, Governor General of Jamaica, His Excellency Sir Emmanuel Neville Sinak, Governor General of St. Lucia, and His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Oran Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, and of course our own President, Paula May Weeks. With appreciation, we say thank you. Our thanks go out as well to our Eminent Persons Panel Chair, the energetic elder statesman, Sir Sridat Ramphal, whom you heard earlier, and who continues to guide the deliberations of the panel. Those of our panel not already mentioned are Mr. Justice Christopher Blackman, Professor Compton Bourne, Professor Bridget Barrington, Mrs. Diana Mahabir Wyatt, and Mr. Justice Ralston Nelson. Together, they have provided us with a selection of 4 fine individuals to be named as Ansa Caribbean Awards laureates. Thank you. I thank as well our country nominating committees for wholeheartedly supporting the many changes necessary to get to this point, headed by Dr. Janine Comer of Barbados, Mr. Al Crichton of Guyana, Mr. Maureen Seymour of Jamaica, Laureate Dr. Lennox Honeychurch of the OECS, taking over from Ms. E. Ann Henry QC, and Mrs. Helen Drayton of Trinidad and Tobago. Other members of the TNT-NC present with us this evening are Dr. Linda Hadid, Brother Noble Khan, and Professor Patricia Mohammed. Not present, Mr. Gabriel Farrier, Mr. Vincent Pereira, Professor Brinsley Samaru, and Laureate Professor Surajpal Tilak Singh. To our 2020 laureates, Jalim Udifik, Arts and Letters, Andrew David Mendez, Entrepreneurship, Dr. Olivine Berg, Public and Civic Contributions, and Dr. Shireen Hack, Science and Technology. Thank you for accepting these awards, and welcome to our College of Laureates. May your careers continue to soar and your work inspire many generations yet to come. This year, we lost a member of our panel, Sir Royston Hopkin of Grenada, which came as a shock to us all. He was a tourism entrepreneur extraordinaire, and his contribution to the panel's deliberation brought a business perspective which was enduringly appreciated. We commiserate with Lady Betty Hopkin and her family on his passing. We also lost our 2012 Arts and Letters Laureate, Mr. George Simon AA. Laureate Simon was Guyanese of Lokono heritage, who was an archaeologist and painter, and who, through his influence and passion, allowed indigenous artists to become a powerful influence in Guyanese art. At the time of his death, he had been living in Spain. We mourn with his wife, Irma Sue, and family, this great loss to our fraternity. Our thanks go out in addition to all our researchers, Dr. Jason Marshall in Barbados, Karina Sharples, Guyana, Demi Walker, Jamaica, Vladimir Lucian, the OECS, and Sky Hernandez, Trinidad and Tobago, who provide all the background checks and prepare the dossiers on the candidates. We appreciate all that you do in bringing our exercise to fruition. In just over 10 days' time, the Eminent Persons Panel will sit to select the 2021 laureates, and we begin this process all over again. As we enter our 16th program year, I make no predictions as to what will happen in 2021 with regards to our awards ceremony, but know that it will happen. In closing, I must express my thanks to the staff of the Office of the President, who have been extremely patient and understanding with us. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, a warm, grateful, and sincere thank you to Her Excellency, Paula May Weeks. You have been most generous with your time in providing us with the foreword for our booklet and for your presence here this evening. You have made it very special for us and for Dr. Hacker. Thank you. On behalf of our patron, our chairman, and directors of the Anson McCall Foundation, a sincere and deep appreciation to all of you for celebrating with us this evening. Thank you, and may God bless and keep us in his tender, loving care always. Thank you. Continue to be safe. Excellency, we have a small token of appreciation for you. So if we could be allowed to put that on my... If you will keep your seats as